Charlie is gathering various parts for the plane, but he is distracted by his wife Sarah, who will soon leave for work in London, and she suggests going with her, but Charlie is busy, so he declines. After that, he goes to the CIA, where a message from Inkleven arrives on the computer. Charlie has been communicating with him for a long time, receiving secret information, but the file that Inkleven sent could literally turn Charlie's world upside down. Charlie tries to guess who Inkleven is. Obviously, he doesn't respond and advises being careful with this file. How surprised he was that even a genius like Charlie couldn't decipher the file's contents. Sarah called him with the news that she had arrived in London. Although Charlie already knows this, he is not concerned with it right now. Charlie returns to hacking the file. He moves to a more powerful complex, where he finally manages to crack the code. Inside were data showing that the authorities themselves launched the drones, and for the citizens they made up a story about a bomb. The news is broadcasting reports about the elimination of elite army units. Behind it all is Moore, who is also Charlie's boss. Before falling asleep, he tries to contact his wife, but she doesn't answer, so he sends her a message. Upon returning to work, he saw Moore waiting for him. O'Brien explains that there was a terrorist attack in London. Unfortunately, Sarah died. Charlie Kashkari can't believe it. And then Moore turns on the news. In one of the recordings, Sarah is clearly visible. Charlie rushes home, which is surrounded by dozens of reporters, with whom Charlie has no desire to talk. The next day, knowing the latest file, Charlie cannot understand how the terrorists managed to get to the hotel, where there are hundreds of surveillance cameras. Moore swears they will figure everything out. That day, they brought the coffin with Sarah. Among the things was a gift that Sarah had bought for him, which upsets Charlie even more. He cannot stay at home and goes to work, where he starts analyzing all the surveillance cameras and mapping out the entire terrorist operation. It all began with the theft of a car, which they used to get to the service entrance, making sure to eliminate all DNA traces. Most likely, they had a business meeting with a corporation from Indonesia, but something happened and they started shooting. To protect themselves from the police, the bandits took hostages. Thanks to the orders they were giving, Charlie recognized the voices and identified who these bandits were. Russian Mishka, Special Forces Officer Lawrence, Mercenary Host, and Officer Gratham. Charlie sees that the authorities are not going to react to his investigation in any way, which means they already know everything. Caleb says again that they are working in this direction. As Charlie himself developed the security systems, he knows how to bring a chip into the building, onto which he uploads all the secret data, after which he shows Moore his mistakes that caused civilian casualties. If they don't help him, this data will go to the CIA director, and if they try to kill him, this data will send itself in 5 hours. Either they train him in agent skills, give him fake documents, weapons, and information on where to find these bandits. When Charlie left, Moore says that Charlie is bluffing, but Caleb doesn't want to take any extra risks. Meanwhile, they need to find where Charlie is storing the data, and when they find it, Charlie will be killed during training. The agents are analyzing how Charlie could have brought prohibited items into the complex, but they don't understand anything. However, they notice that every time Charlie went into the bar, there was a disc in the jukebox that had no music, just some noise. Meanwhile, Charlie arrives at the training center. Hunter says Dr. Henderson will be helping him. Charlie even finds it very difficult to shoot. He only hits the target from a very close distance, but the various bombs are like toys for him. Henderson is very surprised by his skill. Closer to night, Henderson came to Charlie. He understands that Charlie is not made for elimination, but he sees no other way to avenge his wife. Then Henderson gives a gun and orders him to aim at him. Charlie is very scared and he puts the gun away. The agents analyzed the disc and concluded that Charlie is bluffing, but Charlie had been eavesdropping on them the whole time. Moore orders Henderson to catch Charlie, and when he came to him, Charlie had already disappeared. Moore suspects there was a bug in the file and says it's treason. Charlie reaches London, and as soon as his passport was entered into the database, Henderson was sent to catch him. Charlie quickly tracked down one of the bandits, Gretham. He tracked down which house she lives in, and when one of the residents came out, he sneaks inside.
Charlie doesn't know how to hack.
They dismantle locks but learn how to do it from a YouTube lesson. Inside Gretchen's apartment there was a schedule of her life, as well as a weapon that he takes for himself. Charlie realizes that Gretchen will soon return home, so he goes up to the floor above. He even has a chance to pull the trigger, but he lacks the strength and just runs away to the hotel. After cooling down a bit, he studies the photograph. Gretchen quite often goes to the same hospital where they treat allergies, and then Charlie came up with a new plan. He buys flowers and waits for Gretchen to get to the hospital where she undergoes certain procedures. The doctor sees that the monitoring is not working well and leaves to get other stuff. Charlie takes the opportunity and enters the office. He locks the cube and releases flower pollen into the ventilation. Charlie promises to help her if she tells him where Host is hiding, as he was the one who eliminated Sarah. Gretchen finds it hard to speak, and then Charlie opens the door. A fight breaks out between them. Stoyoka Zaga between them. Charlie manages to lose to Gretchen, who tries to escape but gets hit by a car. At least the phone didn't break. The next day he reaches Marseille. News reached the CIA that Gretchen was eliminated. O'Brien asks Moore who could have done it, and he replies, "Someone from our own." Charlie never eliminated other people, which is why he suppresses his emotions. He spots Henderson among the people and immediately takes off. Henderson follows Charlie, who decides to lock himself in the bathroom. However, there were no windows to escape through, so he decides to approach Henderson, who explains that he found him because of Gretchen's phone. Charlie shows a timer. A small explosion occurs. Charlie sneaks away. Henderson wants to check his geolocation, but the phone no longer works. Charlie has to ask in Cliven for help. After some time, a woman approaches him at the meeting place, calling herself in Cliven. She explains that she became a hacker after the death of her husband, who worked for the CIA, but he was eliminated, although they pretend it was an accident. Lawrence is involved in arms trading, and Cleveland suggests meeting him under the pretext of selling weapons, and Mishka loves to travel, which he shares on social media. In one of the photos, there is a silhouette of a woman through which they find her account and place of residence. At this time, O'Brien asks Moore to stop doing business behind her back. He replies that her predecessor said the same thing. The couple finds Mishka, who is staying at a hotel with a suspended pool. However, Henderson is already here too. Charlie sees a man who seems familiar to him. Cleveland studies the man and realizes that he is a CIA agent. When Mishka gets into the pool, Charlie appears and asks where Horst is hiding. If he does not cooperate, the pool will be destroyed, and since Mishka is silent, they have to press the button. After which, Charlie makes a run for it. Henderson almost catches him, but another agent crashes into them. Charlie sees the agents fighting each other. The man pulls out a gun and wounds Henderson, but he takes the weapon and comes out victorious. The agents are sure that Charlie couldn't have planned everything alone, and after checking the messages, they trace it back to Incleven. Since the agent with that name is dead, his wife is behind it all. Late at night, an armed squad appears near the house. The couple escapes through a hidden passage, but a drone spots them. The soldiers open fire. The bullets severely wound Incleven. Charlie drags her to the adjacent seat and continues the escape. However, the girl did not survive. Tomorrow he arranges a meeting with Lawrence in Romania, and for the CIA he scans his face and hacks cameras in Berlin, making the CIA think he was caught on camera. When Lawrence arrives at the meeting place, he sees crates and a phone. A call comes in. Charlie asks Lawrence to look into the crates filled with bombs. If he moves, everything will blow up. Charlie asks him to help find Host. He says that Host works on Russian territory and receives his goods at the Baltic port. All the necessary names are in his phone. Charlie picks up the phone and leaves as everything explodes behind him. The CE realizes they have been deceived. The next day, Charlie sends Lawrence a code and sees a man take out a phone. He takes several photos from which he learns the name of the yacht and its routes. But when he was ready for the final step, he is knocked out and he drops his wife's gift. Horst is sure that Charlie is the kind of person who cannot eliminate without looking the person in the eyes, which is why he gives him his gun. Still, Charlie couldn't shoot when suddenly the yacht changes course. It turns out Charlie managed to hack the yacht and change the final destination. They are surrounded by Finnish special forces and taken into custody. After some time, O'Brien announces that there was a purge in the CIA and bad agents were identified, and Charlie assembled a plane and flew away to wherever his eyes led him.